It's a sign from the universe. So many things outside the Meg's control keep interrupting and postponing and delaying and interfering with her efforts. It's happened a lot. Maybe if she's so in tune, she should listen. Take a hint. The Meg's appearance at the Museum Gala in Los Angeles this week was postponed due to the state of affairs in LA. And this is just the most recent time that her plans were thwarted or delayed. It would seem not only does Meghan lack all manner of awareness, etiquette, and more, she also has the worst timing we have ever seen. Let's work backwards here. Apart from this museum gala, which was frivolous nonsense, a pay-to-play. Remember, last year she hosted her fellow rich a private showing of the Kinsey collection, rather than doing something philanthropic like provide free days or passes to some underprivileged schools or kids or families or anything like that. No, it was for rich folk. Anywho, that's what got her long feet in the door to get her hands on another microphone and pointless vacuous appearance at the museum gala. But earlier this year, she delayed with Love Meghan from coming out on Netflix because of the wildfires. So this year, delay for the wildfires, delay for the protests. She also delayed the release of her podcast, Confessions of a Sucky Business Lady. She purposefully wanted it to come out at the same time as Netflix and the products, I guess, which, as we've discussed, was a terrible idea because it conflated her projects and robbed them all of having a clear identity and branding, leaving customers and the public overwhelmed with Meg fatigue and unclear of what any of her projects actually are. She did that on purpose. What a stupid idea. But the delay of that podcast kind of flew under the radar because, remember, nobody really cares about it. But before that, her slimy jam concoction was also delayed. Remember, last year, early 2024, she announced American Riviera Orchard Montecito, and it was allegedly expected to launch in spring of 2024. And then it got delayed until fall 2024. And then instead of launching in fall, she was like, JK, we're going to announce that we've rebranded. It's going to be called As Ever now with a lowercase e. Isn't that great? And then finally it was launched in spring of this year. So that got delayed by over a year. I don't know if this really counts technically, but we'll go ahead and mention this one. In 2023, she showed up 3 days late to the Invictus Games, claiming it was milkshakes and school drop-off that made her late, which makes zero sense whatsoever. It had a lot of people assuming that she and Harry were disagreeing on her degree of involvement in Invictus. The organizers, and maybe also Harry, didn't want her doing a speech or introducing Harry at the opening ceremony, so in protest, she refused to show up until 3 days later. But that was just the rumor at the time, but it technically was another time that the Meg was late or delayed on something. In September 2022, when we lost the beloved Queen Elizabeth II, so many things got delayed and postponed. An interview with Variety, I think it was delayed, and she canceled her scheduled appearance on The Tonight Show. That was supposed to be September 20th, and never rescheduled. They were just like, never mind. She postponed a few episodes of her Archetypes podcast. I think she skipped like 1 or 2 weeks, but it still wasn't really enough time to feel respectful of the loss. She also dropped out of the Variety Power of Women Gala on September 28 out of respect for the royal mourning period. She also caused a delay in the walkabout outside Windsor Castle with Prince William and Princess Catherine so the Meg could have her hair and makeup done. Can you believe that? Prince William and Prince Harry's grandmother died, and the Meg needed to delay it by an hour to get ready. Just go. Go barefaced. Times like those are not the time to be an inconvenience to someone in grief. Terrible manners that woman has. Earlier that year, for the Jubilee in 2022, Harry and Meghan were nearly an hour late to the service in an attempt to adjust their position in the procession. They wanted to feel more important, or they were just being contrary and defiant. It doesn't really matter which. But it ended up backfiring, drawing attention to their B-list status and seats, as they were seen looking confused, taken aback, and displeased with their assigned seats. Had they arrived when scheduled and not delayed, it wouldn't have looked as bad for them, and they wouldn't have drawn that attention. And also, they got booed. The Archetypes podcast was originally expected in late 2021, but didn't come out until August 2022 due to issues with getting it done and with production and disagreements with the team. Harry and Meghan the Netflix series, the like show they did together, was meant to air late summer 2022, but didn't come out until winter, allegedly due to creative differences and to avoid going up in competition against The Crown. She had said that she was going to publish a second children's book. Ugh, please don't. After The Bench, which was terrible. I'll link the review of it here if I can remember. And that doesn't really seem so much as delayed as completely abandoned, because we haven't heard anything about that since. So it's actually difficult to find a project or venture of Meghan's that has not been delayed. Every single one of her commercial projects has had a delay or a postponement of some variety. And many of her public appearances, like just showing up to things, have also been rescheduled or delayed. And then, wildfires, riots, an icon of our lifetime passes away. It would seem something's trying to send a signal to the Meg to cut it out. But it's not just that. She also just plainly suffers from terrible timing in general. It's almost like the universe doesn't want her doing these things. And if it's not roadblocks or delays, it's the literal worst timing you could possibly imagine. Case in point, the Oprah interview aired while Prince Philip was hospitalized at the end of his life. He was 99. And sadly passed away just a month later, and images of a heartbroken Queen Elizabeth grieving and sitting alone at her lifelong love's funeral were so sad, so poignant, it only magnified the villainous image of Meghan that she had made for herself. Although the Variety interview and cover were delayed, they still came out really close to the Queen's passing, on the cusp of mourning, and Meg took it upon herself to speak on the loss, which she had zero right to do, before any of the actual family had the opportunity to do so. That was super poor etiquette, really messed up bad manners, extraordinarily inconsiderate. And this exemplified the negative reputation that she had. More examples of really bad timing, poor taste, not reading the room or the temperature of the moment include holding a baby shower during a humanitarian crisis in 2019. She had a lavish baby shower in New York City, which she flew over the Atlantic for in a private jet. At the same time, Prince Harry was promoting a humanitarian trip to Africa. The contrast between luxury and philanthropy made headlines. She made complaints about royal life during the global pandemic in 2020. Meghan and Harry's complaints about royal treatment and press attacks, full of lies, came while the world was facing COVID-19. Some saw their grievances as privileged and self-indulgent in the face of mass illness, death, and unemployment. Private jet trips while preaching about climate change has been going on from 2019 until now. Meghan and Harry repeatedly use private jets while advocating for sustainability and launching the ecotourism initiative Travelist. The hypocrisy accusations were rampant each time this happened, particularly after Harry gave a speech on environmentalism right after taking a private jet from Sicily. I think they had taken 9 private jets within a few days, and then he's talking about environmentalism and carbon footprint. It's sit down. Sit down, Harry. So it's clear that they not only have bad timing and fail to read the room and understand anything. It's they can't see how they are being perceived, and how they may be perceived is horrible. That's why they really need some good PR people to kind of help them understand that they're only making things worse for themselves. But what's peculiar about this, it's not just that there's all these things that keep popping up to accentuate the fact that their projects are either ill-timed or get delayed. And the timing of it is just off every time, no matter which way you look at it or no matter the reason. What's interesting here is that Meghan and Harry allegedly believe that the Meg can speak to Diana and to seals, apparently. It's in Spare. It's ludicrous. I'm not even going to get into it. And they have alluded to believing all kinds of things about energy and soul contracts, and the Meg even said that she thinks she was divinely chosen to marry Harold because she could handle it. But as we've said, I've seen zero handling of anything from her. It's all tantrums and knee-jerk reactions and complaining and malcontent and malice and quitting, literally the opposite of handling anything. But they claim to be these meditating, in-tune type of people who are spiritual and whatnot. So then I ask, why don't they see this pattern for what it is? People who really do believe in those types of things, the same things Harry and Meghan claim to, believe that these types of things, all these roadblocks and bad timing and stuff like that, stuff not really working out how it's meant to, or having timing kind of stifle something from going right, if that makes sense. All these types of roadblocks. People who do believe in vibes and energy and all that sort of a thing would believe that that's a sign that you're forcing something that shouldn't be going on, that you're on the wrong path, that what you're doing is not the right thing for you right now, that you're not going with the flow enough, and you're trying to make something that isn't meant to happen. You're just trying to force it. And we've seen a lot of evidence of them trying to force their desires, like trying to force only positive press coverage, trying to force their way onto stages and wrangling microphones, trying to force themselves onto the public who don't want to see or hear from them. Forcing narratives. This entire year, the Meg keeps trying to say that she hasn't changed and she's always been this sweet, as an attempt to force the public to forget the lies that she's told, the bullying claims, and more. It's nuts. But we've seen Harry and Meghan try to force things time and time again. And every year or so, they're trying to force a new narrative. Last year, they were trying to force the faux royal image. The year before, they were still trying to force the victim image. Honestly, it's quite surprising that they would have this many roadblocks popping up to spoil their projects or delay their appearances. It's like you'd think they'd take the hint by now, you know? Like, clearly. If it's not just bad timing that's making it received poorly and affecting how people view their actions, it's contradictions from previous things that they've done, or just literal outside events blocking them from doing what they're trying to do. So clearly, if you were to believe in those things, the universe is saying, no, thank you. Please sit down. Please stop. Give it a rest. Take the back seat for a while. Calm down. Stop doing these things, because trying to force it, they hit roadblock after roadblock, delay after delay, interruption after interruption. It's just not working. Stop trying to force it, you know? So which is it? Do they believe in those things and they're just ignoring the fact that they're trying to force something that shouldn't happen? Or do they not believe in those things and they're just ignorantly going about their business? You leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for joining me for today's video. I hope you have a happy day ahead, and I'll see you next time. Bye.